Welcome back to 23 Ways to Leave by Mindy Dean. Today I'm going to be reading Chapter 3, Leaving the Excuses, Breaking Free from What's Kept You Stuck. Tears streamed down my cheeks as I belted out the lyrics. I've got 100 million reasons to walk away, but baby, I just need one good one to stay. Somehow, yet again, Lady Gaga's lyrics crying out truths from the depths of my soul. I gripped the steering wheel, my voice cracking as I sang along to the radio. My thoughts were a jumble. If overthinking was a sport, I'd definitely qualify for a gold medal. I was used to being all caught up in my feelings, thinking of my million reasons to leave and struggling to come up with the good one to stay. I was taking the long way home from work, avoiding whatever eggshells I'd have to walk on or fresh argument that might be waiting for me there. Instead, it felt better for me to stay in my radio sing-along reality a little longer. At least that way, even though hard things suck really bad right now and are really, really hard, there's some stupid fucking poetic payoff that I'm some amazing, wonderful wife for sticking through all this bullshit and finding that one good reason. No wonder my friend told me I was a long-suffering soul, I thought. This was one of the many nights I stayed late at the salon, swapping stories with clients who were stuck in the same kind of mess at home that I was. Taking my sweet ass time because I didn't want to go home to him, to that life I was living. My own moment of clarity. As you learned in the last chapter, hope can be comforting. But in this one, we'll see how it can also become a trap dressed up as logic. Let me rewind a bit. Before my sing-along realizations in the car, back to before I knew of those million reasons to leave. Back when I was still playing along with that excuse game of his. One classic moment that comes to mind was a theme park visit from hell. We're in Florida. I'm the fattest I've ever been and insanely miserable in this heat. This dry desert Texas girl is not used to 95 degrees with 95% humidity in October or any time of year, really. It was our first time there, little kids in tow, strollers and bags and all of our stuff weighing me down. Don't even get me started on navigating this magical motherfucker. It was nightmare fuel. I can't believe you dragged me all the way out here just to kill me. Excuse me? Did he really just say that? What do you mean, babe? You're going to fucking kill me with dehydration. He literally said this to me in the middle of Animal Kingdom. He had to be fucking joking, right? Not only was he accusing me of this, he was absolutely doing it at full volume in front of everyone around us, not just my kids, who were typically the only ones within earshot. I was choking on my own sweat, wondering how the hell I'd go the rest of the day with these nasty swamp-ass jeans on in this humidity, dragging tired kids and this miserable ingrate of a husband along with me. This man was holding his stomach like he was about to drop in the middle of this crowd. I don't know if you've ever been in one of those moments where you're just plain done while you're also trying to keep it cool in public, but that's where I was. I looked at him, deadpan, and was like, we're in the middle of a theme park, babe. You're not dying. You just want me to buy you more water. Please stop yelling at me. My heart was racing. My brain was running in circles. Was he really that stressed? Maybe he's being dramatic. Maybe he really is dehydrated. But in the pit of my stomach, I knew. I knew this was just some bullshit excuse of his. He wasn't dying. He was being a damn diva. I could feel the resentment climbing up in the back of my throat like bile, but I choked it down, swallowing my feelings, thinking to myself, what if this is just one of those things I have to deal with? Why we make excuses. Ugh. Looking back now at that ridiculous moment, I can see that part of me justifying his nonsense and makes me roll my eyes. I was in full on mental gymnastics mode, constantly trying to make sure he was happy. Playing along felt easier, even though I knew I deserved so much better. Dying of dehydration at a theme park? Come on. I wasn't his personal water fetching machine. He was a grown man. It wasn't my job to keep him from spiraling over every little thing, but that's exactly what I did. I was the fixer. I was the glue. I was supposed to clean up every little mess, every dramatic ass meltdown, even over bottled water. It wasn't just really about him, though. Now I see that I had justified his bullshit and allowed myself to be treated that way for far too long. We've all been there, making excuses, letting things slide, allowing nonsense to become normality. If you're kicking yourself for all the times you've done this too, I invite you to take a pause. When you made excuses for their bad behavior, their flaws, their inability to show up for you, you were just seeing the best in them. And that's because of the good in you. It's time for you to forgive yourself. You did the best you could with the information that you had at the time. Period. You don't have to beat yourself up over past decisions. Remember when I said earlier that the good you see in them is because of your own qualities being mirrored back to you? Remind yourself of that when your brain starts trying to play mental gymnastics. It's natural to want to believe the best in others, especially when we love them. Love makes us extra generous with our empathy, and just that sometimes confuses compassion with permission. We tell ourselves we're being understanding, but we're really just making allowances for them, using excuses as a survival tool. They help us avoid facing the painful truth of what's really going on in the present, keeping us safe in denial just a little bit longer. Most of us, especially women, are conditioned to minimize our needs over the needs of our spouses and families. That's what being a good mom is all about. Being flexible or accommodating, i.e., a people pleaser, is so often praised that it makes us shut off those inner alarms that are blaring inside of us in favor of the fragile peace we create by abandoning ourselves. We tell ourselves that we need to be humble, to put ourselves last, that anything else would be selfish. Over time, we forget that our needs matter, or worse, that we have any needs at all. And there's the words in our heads that we've heard through the years, an internalized narrative of how it really is our fault. I wouldn't be like this if you didn't push me. You're too sensitive. You're just like everyone else who's ever left me. We can't help but believe those things we've heard so often, and they become our own inner monologue, as if their behavior really is somehow our fault. Truth bomb moment. This part of the work isn't about shaming yourself for the excuses you've made or believe. It's about reclaiming your power. If you've given yourself 100 reasons to stay, it's time to give yourself just one powerful reason to leave. You deserve more than what you've been justifying. As I said before, seeing reality clearly is one of the first steps to healing. Let's look at some common excuses people tell themselves, along with a truth that cancels it out. They had a hard childhood. Yes, and so have so many kind, emotionally safe people. Truth, their trauma does explain their past. It doesn't excuse their actions now, however. You can be understanding without self-abandoning. Can you think of another example of someone who had a hard childhood and it didn't harden them this way? Number 2, it's not always this bad. This also may sound like it could always be worse. Truth, a few better moments don't erase a pattern of harm. You cannot at least yourself through life. At least it's not this bad. At least he doesn't XYZ. At least she'll never XYZ. This is no way to live your life. Number 3, they love me. Maybe, but love without safety, respect, or accountability isn't love you can thrive in. Truth. Love should never hurt more than it heals. Life is hard. Things hurt, but your relationship doesn't have to be one of those things. You should find safety and comfort in your relationship, not pain and heartache. Number 4, they didn't mean it. Intentions don't cancel out impact. Truth, it still happened. You still felt the bruise. Emotional harm still counts, even if it wasn't on purpose. And no matter how it is that you've been hurt, no matter which way it is that you've been abused, the truth is, whether they meant it or not, it happened. And the pain that you felt is real. Number 5, they need me. I'm the only one who's ever loved them. That's not love, that's dependence. While they may have successfully planted this idea in your head, it's simply untrue. Truth, they need what you're providing for them, and they will continue to take it from you as long as you let them. You know others have loved them. You've seen them push others away. You know they twist their narrative, and you know that it's time to stop letting them twist it about you. So, which excuses sound familiar to you? Do any others come to mind? Write them out along with the truth that helps you begin rewriting a new story. How to dismantle your justifications. Y'all, it takes an enormous amount of mental and emotional energy to keep pretending someone's bad behavior is okay. It's mental gymnastics, elaborate routines we twist our minds into, contorting our thoughts into whatever can help us justify the unjustifiable. And we usually don't even know we're doing it until we stop. Now that you've started to see how we bend ourselves to believe in their potential, let's look at how we keep bending to justify what should have been unacceptable from the start. So the first step, catch yourself in the act. When you hear that inner voice start telling you they didn't mean it, or it's just because they're stressed, pause, breathe. Just noticing is a great first step. Ask yourself this powerful question, even if it's after the moment has passed. Maybe you're reflecting back on an argument and the thoughts are spinning through your head. Think to yourself, would I tell my best friend that this is okay? If she looked me in the eyes and told me this exact same story, would I nod my head and say, hell yeah, that sounds reasonable. Stay right there. Be really truthful with yourself here. Remind yourself you deserve that same fierce love, truth, and clarity. It's time to give to yourself what you've been giving to others. As I said before, staying is a choice, even if it doesn't feel like one. But just like naming the truth and letting go of the fantasy, choosing to stop making excuses is another doorway to freedom. Introducing The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. By this point, you've been doing some serious mental and emotional heavy lifting, and I'm proud of you. You're seeing how the justifications you've made have been slowly unraveling your sense of self. You've looked at the fantasy. You've peeled back the excuses. And now it's time to ground yourself into something deeper. Truth. Enter this little book, The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. This little book has stayed on my nightstand through so many things. The loss of my husband, breakups, grief, heartbreak, and rebuilding my life. It's a little spiritual, yes, but in the most grounded, no BS kind of way. These 4 principles are lifelines when your heart is spinning and your brain is doing gymnastics to keep the peace. I highly recommend you read the entire book. It's very short and simple to read, but I will share the key takeaways here so that you don't have to read the whole thing. Let's walk through these powerful yet simple shifts to help you break free from the mental loops that have helped you suck. Agreement number 1, be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity, saying only what you mean. Avoid using words to gossip or speak against yourself or others. It's time to stop bullshitting yourself. Stop calling yourself things like stupid or idiot. Stop calling this dysfunction normal. Stop saying things like he didn't mean it. It's not that bad, when your body is screaming that it is. Being impeccable means being honest, even when the truth breaks your heart a little. It means naming the things that hurt instead of sugarcoating them with hope or guilt or fear. Jot these down in a journal if you don't have someone safe to share these truths with just yet. Agreement number 2, don't take anything personally. Understand that what others say and do is a reflection of their own reality, not a reflection of you, and that you are immune to the opinions and actions of others. This one is a life changer, y'all. When you understand that their behavior, lack of empathy, and unhealed wounds were never yours to fix, this makes so much sense. This one is hard, especially when you've been told, you made me this way, or if you were better, I'd treat you better. But it's time that you release the shame you've been carrying for someone else's chaos. Knowing that their actions are on them takes the responsibility away from you. And then their pain doesn't get to become your prison. Agreement number 3, don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and express your needs clearly, avoiding misunderstandings and drama. I know that it can be hard to have conversations, but they have to happen. You may have assumed that if they could just see how much you love them, they'd change. That one more chance would be the one that sticks. That if you sacrificed enough, stayed soft enough, strong enough, silent enough, they'd finally get it. But what if they're showing you who they are and they don't want to change? What if your assumptions have been holding you hostage? Agreement number 4, always do your best. Recognize that your best will differ from moment to moment, and focus on doing your best in each situation rather than striving for perfection. And listen, your best isn't perfection. Your best today might look like crying in the car and still making it to work. It might be reading this chapter with trembling hands because you know what's coming next. It might be finally saying enough. Let that be enough. You don't have to do it all right now. Give yourself some credit. Your best is not measured by how long you stayed. It's measured by how bravely you choose to leave when staying becomes self-abandonment. Reflection. Take a breath. Place your hand over your heart. Ask yourself, which of these agreements do I struggle with the most in this relationship? How might my life shift if I choose to live that truth just for me? The exit is not cruel, it's sacred. There will always be a reason to stay. One more apology, one more promise, one more holiday or birthday or anniversary, one more day that doesn't feel quite as bad as the others, But what if you stopped waiting for the perfect reason to leave and just allowed yourself to go? What if the quiet reasons you've been collecting, the whispers in the night, weren't signs to keep hoping for the relationship, but signs that your heart is holding on to hope for you, for your freedom, for your future, because they are. You don't need a final explosion or some undeniable proof. You don't need the perfect exit conversation or some dramatic scene or way that other people understand. You just need your own permission. Permission to honor the moments your gut twisted, the times your chest got tight, the nights you cried quietly to keep the peace. Permission to stop shrinking yourself in the name of survival. You don't need another excuse to go. You need to stop making excuses to stay. You're not cold for walking away. You're not giving up. You're rising into who you are supposed to be. And sometimes that looks like leaving behind something that once felt like home, even when it hurts. Remember how ignoring your inner knowing always comes with a cost? Excuses are one of the loudest ways we silence that truth, but you're ready now. Be kind to the version of you who didn't know how to leave yet. That version helped you survive. And now you know better. When you know better, you get to live better. So breathe. Forgive yourself for the waiting, the hoping, the justifying. Then go and don't look back unless it's time to see how far you've come.